Good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to do the same lesson from Union Executive Civics portion, Chapter 2, Class 10, Part 3, and this is going to be a last lesson. Over here, we will be dealing with the effects of general emergency. Due to general emergency, fundamental rights, center-state relationship, finance, and union and state legislature is also affected. So first one is your fundamental rights. Due to general emergency, okay, the exercise of fundamental rights is partially or wholly suspended. And next one is your center state relationship. The country has to forego its federal spirit, okay, federal spirit, as the states are obliged to carry out the instructions of the center. So due to the general emergency, the union parliament acquires the powers to give direction to a state on any matter, so that the state government will be under the complete control of union executive, and it has to function under a unitary system with local subdivision. So next one is your finance. The center is empowered to suspend the financial provisions of the constitution. Matters such as the distribution of revenues between the center and the states. And the last one is your union and state legislature. During emergency, the term of Lok Sabha may be extended for a period of 1 year at a time. The same rule may be applied to legislative assembly or any state. So the next point that we are dealing in this lesson is the breakdown of constitutional machinery. So under what circumstances? First one is your circumstances and another one is your duration. Okay, under your circumstances, if the president receives a receipt of report from a governor, or otherwise he is quite satisfied that the governance of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the provision of the constitution, that time president can declare an emergency in the state, and it is called the president's rule, because the president may assume to himself all or any of the functions of the state government. So we always get to know what is president rule. Over here you understand the situation when is the president rule taken in an active motion. Okay, why do we need president rule? So you can clear all your doubts over here. The next thing comes, how long is this president rule, or it's going to take time? Okay, for how long it is going to be over one state? The duration of such an emergency is 2 months, only for 2 months. If it were to continue beyond 2 months, if you want to extend this, it should be agreed by the parliament. The parliament has to agree on this thing. The proclamation will cease to be valid. It will not be valid for 6 months after the date of issue. Under what condition this president rule can be extended? When a proclamation of emergency is in operation in the whole of India or in any part of the state. Otherwise, the election commission certifies that holding election to the legislature assembly of the state is difficult. Next topic that we are dealing over here is effects of emergency in a state. Now, due to general emergency, there are effects in state also. The state administration is directly placed under the president, that is the union government. The governor of the concerned state acts in accordance with the instructions that are issued by the union government from time to time. And under this situation, president may dissolve the Vidhan Sabha of the state and dismiss the council of ministers. He can also keep the assembly and the council of ministers in suspended animation. In both cases, the union parliament can pass laws even on the subjects of the state list for a particular state. Even the annual budget of the state is presented to and passed by the parliament. When the Lok Sabha is not in the session, the President may authorize expenditure out of the consolidate fund of the state. President may suspend the provision of the Constitution relating to any authority of the state except those relating to the high courts. The next topic that we are dealing with it is financial emergency. So always a question arises, such emergency is also there called financial emergency. So on what criteria or on what circumstances does our president declare a financial emergency? When there is a great threat of financial stability or credit. So next question arises, duration, how long it is going to sustain in our nation. So for that, a proclamation has to be laid before both houses of parliament, and it has to be valid only for 2 months, not more than that. That also, it has to be approved by resolution of both houses of parliament. If the Lok Sabha is dissolved when such a proclamation is made and a resolution supporting it is passed by the Rajya Sabha, the proclamation will cease to exist at the expiry of 30 days. 30 days means 1 month. Due to this financial emergency, there are effects of financial emergencies also. President may appoint a finance commission to suggest method to get out of the financial crisis. He may adopt suitable measures to restore financial stability in light of recommendation of the finance commission. Or he can reduce the salaries and allowances of all or any class of person. It might include judges of Supreme Court and High Courts. All money bills passed by the Lok Sabha are to be submitted to the President for his or her consideration. So these are your effects of the financial emergency. So next portion that we are dealing in this lesson is Vice President. Under Article 63, it's specified that there shall be a Vice President of India. Now, what qualifications are needed for his election? A person shall be eligible for election as Vice President if he is a citizen of India, he has completed the age of 35 years, he is qualified for election as a member of Council of State, and a person shall not be eligible for election as Vice President if he holds any office of profit under the Government of India or government of any state or under any local or other authority. So the procedure of election is an electoral college consisting of the members of both houses of parliament elects the Vice President. The election is held in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Vice President shall hold office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enters upon his office. He may, by writing address to President, resign his office. Such resignation will be communicated by the President to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. If he violates the norms of the Constitution, he will be removed from the office by the process of impeachment. Powers and function. He is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. The Vice President of the Indian Union acts as a ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. In this capacity, he regulates debates and proceedings of the House and decides the orders of the speeches. Taking over as the President. The Vice President takes over the office of President under the following situation. Vice President takes over the charge of a President under this situation. First one is death of the President. Second, resignation of the President. Third, removal of the President. And the last one is when the Parliament is unable to discharge his function owing to absence, illness or any other cause. At the end of the lesson, there are some questions which you can solve it by going through my previous and the recent videos. So you can solve it in a proper manner. Since there is a limited time I have given only objective question in this lesson. In coming days I will surely give you structure